The ultimate vulnerability of a homesteader is their geography. No matter how much food you grow, if it is locked inside a single perimeter fence, you are a fixed target. In a grid-down SHTF scenario, a heavily armed mob or a massive fire could force you to abandon your land in minutes. If your property falls, does your food supply fall with it? The sovereign survivor does not put all their calories in one vault. They decentralize. They weaponize the wild. Today, we reveal the tactical art of SHTF guerrilla gardening. We will show you the 7 aggressive, self-sustaining survival crops that you must plant in deep forests, along abandoned railways, and on public land. Plant them in secret, let nature do the watering, and build invisible food caches that only you know how to find. Let's begin. First, the ultimate woodland calorie bank, sunchokes or Jerusalem artichokes. Yes, we deploy them on the homestead, but they are the undisputed king of guerrilla gardening. Because they look exactly like wild, native sunflowers, they can be planted in any forest clearing or ditch without raising a single red flag to passing hikers or looters. In the dead of night, you simply push a few tubers into the soft dirt at the edge of a public tree line. You do not water them. You do not weed them. They will aggressively multiply underground. 5 years later, if you are forced to evacuate your home, you can walk to that exact coordinate, dig into the wild earth, and pull out 50 pounds of life-saving carbohydrates. It is a biological safety deposit box. Second, the invisible survival vine, the ground nut, Apios americana. When you are planting off-grid, you cannot clear land or build trellises that leaves a human footprint. You must use the existing architecture of the forest. The ground nut is a native, nitrogen-fixing vine that loves to climb wild shrubs and dead trees in damp, shaded areas. It produces long, thick strings of high-protein tubers beneath the leaf litter. To plant it as a guerrilla crop, find a discreet, wet area near a public stream, bury a few tubers at the base of some wild brush, and walk away forever. The vine will blend perfectly into the wild canopy, silently producing heavy protein that will sustain your family when the grocery store shelves are stripped bare. Third, the feral orchard, the pawpaw tree. Fruit trees are incredibly difficult to hide, but the pawpaw is an exception. It is North America's largest native fruit, yet almost no one knows what it looks like. It thrives in the deep shade of the understory, meaning you can plant it deep inside a mature forest, where it will be completely hidden from the sky and the trails. The fruit tastes like a heavy, calorie-dense mix of banana and mango, providing vital sugars and fats. By scattering pawpaw seeds in shaded ravines and river valleys miles from your home, you are establishing a permanent, high-energy foraging route that will feed your descendants. Fourth, the aggressive starch factory, daylilies. We have praised their stealth on the homestead, but as a guerrilla crop, their power is in their sheer speed of reproduction. Daylilies are often planted by civil engineers to stabilize dirt along highways and roadsides, because their root systems are virtually indestructible. A tactical survivor can quietly transplant a few clumps into a hidden ravine or a forgotten power line clearing. They will explode into a massive patch of dense edible tubers and protein-rich flower buds. Because the public views them entirely as decorative wildflowers, you can establish massive calorie banks in plain sight along your bug-out route, without anyone ever suspecting a thing. Fifth, the cold weather survivor, the hardy kiwi. In a long-term collapse, scurvy and immune system failure are silent killers. The hardy kiwi is a viciously fast-growing perennial vine that can survive brutal, sub-zero temperatures. It is the perfect guerrilla crop to plant at the base of massive pine trees deep in the woods. It will climb 50 feet into the canopy, completely out of reach of deer and ground scavengers. It produces hundreds of small, smooth-skinned, vitamin C-dense berries that fall to the forest floor in the late autumn. It requires zero pruning and zero fertilizer. It is an unkillable, off-grid vitamin vault. Sixth, the invasive carbohydrate, burdock. In the world of guerrilla gardening, invasive weeds are your greatest ally. You want crops that are hated by modern landscapers, because it means no one will ever harvest them. Burdock produces a massive, deep taproot filled with heavy carbohydrates and essential minerals. To deploy it, simply gather the sticky, dried burrs in the fall and throw them into abandoned lots, ditches, and the edges of public parks. The rain will wash the seeds into the soil, and they will establish themselves permanently. A desperate looter will curse the burrs sticking to their pants, completely unaware they are walking over pounds of edible, sustaining roots. And seventh, the wetland protein reserve, the cattail. If your bug-out location requires you to cross water, you must weaponize that water. Cattails are the single most calorie-dense perennial in the North American wild. To guerrilla farm them, pull the massive roots from an existing swamp, transport them to a hidden, stagnant pond or marsh deep in the woods, and stomp them into the mud. Within 3 years, that entire pond will be an infinite supply of starchy rhizomes, edible spring shoots, and high-protein pollen. It is a massive, self-replicating food source protected by deep water and freezing mud. True preparation means untethering your survival from a single location. The sovereign homesteader does not just farm their backyard, they farm the wild. By deploying these 7 guerrilla crops in secret locations, you guarantee that even if you lose everything, the earth will still feed you. Plant in silence. Harvest in secret. Which location will you secure first? Let me know in the comments below. We are the Soil Guardian. Subscribe for caloric sovereignty and stay in the light.